Hopefully we'll have time for 2 things, but maybe only 1 before we get to the no-gi stuff, which is going to involve a lot of leg locks. So. Alright, let me grab jigs for a second here. Alright, good?
Yep.
Okay, so we're in our shell, we've got our proper posture, structure. One of the things that people are going to be tempted to do here is take this hand, push down on the knee to advance into their pass. Now, because my other knee is in the way, that's not the threat that it would be if, let's rewind, if I didn't have all this, and I was just in a regular kind of half guard, even if I had my underhook, and he pushed my knee down, came to here, cross-face me, and that's just to again illustrate how useless the underhook can be by itself. Because I've got all my other posture structure here, I don't have to worry so much when he puts his hand down. What I can do is immediately hook up my kimura. Now, when we do this, there's a couple of details to getting the kimura that are really important. When I get here, I'm not super picky about the thumbs, no thumbs thing. So guys, whatever for today, whatever's comfortable for you, do it. When you hook up the kimura, you're trying to put the arm behind it. Does everybody here know what a kimura is, just quickly? Yes. Okay, all right, so we're here. You notice my knee is staying on his shoulder. That's really important because without that structure, if I drop this down, nothing's gonna happen. He's just gonna smash me again. He's gonna defend the kimura. He might even be able to counter it. So I gotta keep this in place as I hook this up. Now that I hook this up, see how I'm driving him that way? That's so I can free my hip. Now I can finish on the kimura or the armbar. It's a really important detail. Again, I see a lot of times from half guard people freaking out trying to finish kimuras that are never gonna happen. If my posture, my structure, and my base are correct, and somebody attacks me without addressing those things, he compromises his posture. I'm inside his structure. I affect and control his base. Now I can attack him. And I'm going to do that by opening up his structure some more and breaking his base some more so that he's spread out. The more he's spread out, the weaker he is. The farther I get his limbs from his torso, the easier it is to finish. Finishing a kimura now is almost impossible. As I hip out, it becomes easy. I bring my opposite leg over and I try to hook it in. I can finish the kimura by rotating, or I just go straight to the armbar. Take your pick, guys. Don't really care. All right, does anybody need to see it again?
Yeah, let's see it.
One more time? All right, so again, proper alignment of the knee, here against the hip and the shoulder as much as possible. He attacks, I catch his wrist, I come over keeping my knee against his chest, and then I pull my hip out. I come over. All right, for now, we're going to the arm lock, but if somebody's very strong or perhaps slips their arm out, we're going to the back. We're going to add that, hopefully. All right. So, 2, he pushes. I catch, keeping my knee here. I use my contact with the ground, my inside foot, to push me out. I come over. I separate. I go to my arm lock or my kimura. All right, everybody got it?
Did I see it?
Yes.
No, it's a secret.
Can't just intuit what's going on. I'm disappointed.
I know how I need to put my arm.
Come around to this side. So all the action is on this end. So I'm in my shell here. He starts to push on my knee. I capture this. I go for my kimura. I keep my knee in deep, and I push my knee out. Bring my leg over. At this point, it's your choice. If you want to finish the kimura, I actually prefer to finish the armbar, but.
Didn't he put in rolling over top?
He just went out in an armbar.
Well, so here he rolls over top. Yeah, he goes right into an armbar. There's nothing preventing him from doing it.
Yeah.
It's just, it's irrelevant.
It just gives him like an extra second to slip his arm over or something like that.
Not if I'm doing it properly. Like, when I get to, I'll do it, just feel it. So, if I get into my position here, and I scoot out, like you can feel kind of how locked up your arm is.
Yeah.
So go to roll. See what I mean? Like,
yeah.
you're not pulling your arm out. There is obviously, every movement has a corresponding movement. But if I explode properly enough, like right now we're doing it kind of gentle, but if I get to here and I like pull right out, See how you face planted?
Yeah.
That's why I'm telling you to do the hip thing. If I did the kimura kind of conventionally, like if I was like, all right, I got my kimura, I'm here, now I'm gonna work. And I'll work now, you can roll, you can kind of try to pass, you know, maybe you get out, maybe you don't. But if you keep that detail in mind of when I hook this up, I push you away and I scoot out, then because
Driving you forward really takes away any advantage.
exactly, this is where, again, so we talked about this at the beginning of proper posture structure and base and how that enables techniques to be effective, and disrupting it disables techniques from being effective or enables them on the opposite side. If I'm like this, even if I'm kind of like this, still got pretty good everything, posture structure and base. As I get yanked out of it, my arm is completely isolated and it's vulnerable. That's the difference between successful grappling and half-assed grappling. Is, yeah, I know what a kimura is, and yeah, maybe I can get it. Maybe, you know, if I'm just sitting in his guard and I get sloppy for a second and he throws a kimura on me, okay, but in what universe are you going to get a good grappler or something like that? I'm still, you can feel I'm rooted to the ground, I'm perfectly in base, I'm in no danger whatsoever, but you panic because what you've been taught is moves. Ooh, kimura is dangerous. I can't get put in a kimura. I can't get put in the kimura by itself. Let me explain a quick concept. When it comes to submissions, there's what I like to refer to as a primary and a secondary. The primary is the mechanism that you're using to cause the injury or create unconsciousness. So in the sense, turn around for a second for me. So with the rear naked choke from the back, right? The primary is the choke. The secondary is what you're doing to prevent the person from defeating the primary. So in this case, it's my hooks, right? That's the secondary. Without my hooks, there's more possibility for movement, there's more possibility for escape. With an arm bar, just lie on your back for a second. The primary, and it couldn't be simpler. Down, up. Down on the wrist, up on the elbow. Stand up. This is an arm bar. You'll see this in all kinds of Fantasyland techniques. Down. The reason that doesn't work at all is there's no secondary. His body's free to move. The secondary in the arm bar is my legs isolating the shoulder girdle here, isolating his neck, limiting any rotational movement, isolating the upper arm by squeezing the knees. If you hear people tell you not to cross the ankles on an arm bar, the reason for that is most people have trouble crossing their ankles without flaring their knees. If my knees are wide, his arm can move. If my knees are squeezed together tight and my butt is close, my heels are tight, you can feel the difference right now, right? Like I can sit here and like, hey dude, get out of my arm bar. But if I'm like this, man, he's gone, right? So come back down on your back. So the secondary with the arm bar is simply my heels being in, my knees, everything else. That's keeping him from escaping. All right, so any good submission has a primary and a secondary. In the case of this move that we're doing right now, to tie this all back in, my primary is my kimura here. The secondary requires some kind of control. Normally the kimura is done from the side mount, so you're pinning the guy, you're stepping your leg over his head. In this case, because I'm here, as I hip out, that's my secondary. It's the fact that I'm face planting him and taking away all his base and his structure. So if you just try to work the kimura by itself in isolation and overpower his arm, it's not going to work, and you're going to feel like, man, what's wrong with the kimura? There's nothing wrong with the kimura. It worked before you got here. It will work after you leave. You didn't do it right in the sense that you didn't address posture, base, and structure. All right, make sense, guys? Cool, let's add it. Any questions at all?